So I've been reflecting a lot lately on a negative cycle that elite entrepreneurs often find themselves in. And it's a little bit of a paradox because it's a cycle of underperformance, or at the very least perceived underperformance. And so often it starts that despite significant, often notable external success and achievement, that there's a sense, often an annoying sense, that of not living up to your potential or to your fullest potential, or to even potentially not even living up to new levels of goals that you've been setting for yourself. Which is quite the paradox after the prior success and achievement you so often, and they have like elite entrepreneurs like this have so often experienced. And it often leads to some frustration, stagnation. Very often as the result of chasing goals that are inauthentic, or maybe goals set by other people that have been now being dictated by external factors or external drivers, as opposed to maybe more internal aligned drivers of your goals and things you're striving for. And the trouble when you start really chasing after goals which are inauthentic, you so often leads to burnout, because these are not the successes that you truly are desiring, and you're often desiring them for the wrong reason. And what I've observed as well, see too often, is that this perceived or sometimes real underperformance in this very moment then leads to standards dropping, letting your standards slip, becoming more inconsistent, often starting to procrastinate, which is quite paradoxical after often the amount of getting shit done that has occurred that led to initial or previous successes. And this then leads to a growing sense of unworthiness, of not, of lower self-esteem, not feeling proud of what you have or of who you are, of feeling disconnected to a greater purpose, often feeling disconnected from a higher power, something beyond yourself. Often feeling disconnected from, asking questions like, what is the meaning of life and what am I really here for? All spiraling from that, perceived or often sometimes real underperformance, often coming from chasing inauthentic goals. And that sense of that unworthiness and questioning then leads to a lot of self-doubt, a lot of second-guessing decisions, second-guessing now the goals or activities you're working on or working towards. And a real spiral of negative self-talk, which then leads to the truly tragic piece that's so ironic given the sort of individual we're talking about here, often leads to a growing sense of imposter syndrome, of now feeling that you're in a place where you don't deserve to be, and that it was complete luck or randomness that got you to this level of success, and that you don't deserve it, and that you shouldn't be here. And it sort of, and then leads even more to sort of pull back, let in fear, almost fear, not so much fear of failure, but fear of not living up to expectations, not living up to other people's expectations, fear of maybe not even then living up to your own expectations. Which leads us right back to this sense of perceived underperformance, of not living up to potential. So brutal, so harsh, yet so common in some of the best and brightest, highest achieving entrepreneurs. And so I'm curious if you have been experiencing some of this yourself. If you're aware of, that sense of perceived underperformance, of maybe not living up to your potential, or not feeling like you're living up to, moving towards the goals that you really want to be moving towards. Or maybe some of the other phases in this horrible cycle of the unworthiness, the self-talk, the imposter syndrome. And if you are experiencing that, just know you're not alone. And more and more we're seeing this as much more common, just not as often talked about, particularly in the most elite of performers. And this is something I'm going to be digging into, have been digging into, going to be digging into a lot more then. Is like, as with any negative cycle, there is an opportunity. The key is to break out of the cycle, to get out of to break out of the eddy in the water that's keeping you stuck and swirling around, to sort of exit out. And that might be exiting out at the underperformance stage. It might be exiting out from the unworthiness phase, out of the self-talk, second guessing phase, or even the imposter syndrome phase of where you are at. And so I'll start talking a bit more about the specific tactics or strategies to exit, to sort of break free from this negative cycle, from these different points in it, in some future videos and musings. But just know that there is a path, and it is possible. And if I was going to give you one piece of advice from today, it's knowing that you're not alone, and that the real trick here is to find someone else, find some other people who've experienced this and overcome it and found a path, and surround yourself with those people. And with that, have a good evening.